Hello and welcome. This is James Blanchard Cisneros at your service. Today I will be reading the April 15th Facebook post and making a couple comments on it, and I trust it will assist both of us on our journeys. Here we go. Aligning with your life's purpose. Only you can accomplish what you have come here to do. You are here because you're needed here. It is truly that simple. The key to remembering your mission lies solely within you. Set aside the world's definitions of success and instead focus on what brings you the feelings of peace, joy, love, and fulfillment. What do you personally enjoy doing, and what are you passionate about? Every day take steps towards answering these questions, and slowly you will begin to give clarity to your true calling. The world's insistence on what you do is not truly important. Why you're choosing to do what you do is what really counts. When you express your internal light, others will see it, and it will help serve as an example and reminder to them to follow their true expression. Today, let us stop looking outside and comparing ourselves to other people. Instead, look within and compare the life you have with the life of your hopes, desires, passions, and dreams. Today, let us start becoming who we truly came here to be. You are here because you're needed here. And the key to the purpose of your mission is within you. Today, I will touch upon 4 points that will help us clarify why we're here. First, imagine for a moment you had no pressures or expectations from your family, from peers, from society. Imagine if you can set all those aside. What would you do? Look within and ask yourself, what brings you joy? What brings you peace? What are you passionate about? The more you clarify these points to yourself, the clearer your mission will become. Second, let us start paying attention to our natural inclinations. For example, I was born in Geneva, Switzerland, but I was raised up in Caracas, Venezuela, as a Latino man. And Latino men, when they go to college, they study business. They don't study philosophy, they don't study psychology, they study business. That's just the way it is. And so when I went to college, I studied business. Now, I always had a natural inclination towards psychology and philosophy, and I would always do very well in those classes, even though I was a normal guy in college and studied your average amount. But I always did very well in philosophy and psychology. And I remember having a few questions growing up that kind of brought up this interest in psychology and philosophy. One of them was, why would two different people react differently to the same external stimuli? If the same thing happened, why do two people react differently to it? Also, when I was younger, my family has a known name in Venezuela. And so I would notice that when people knew my last name, they would treat me differently from when they just saw me as a kid. And so that always bothered me a little bit, but I was also intrigued by that. Why would that happen? And thirdly, I would say my mother and my grandmother are both Venezuelan women, and they both raised me. And my grandmother had whatever she needed, physically speaking, to be at peace. But she never really offered peace to those she was interacting with. She was always, I guess, mean or whatever you want to call it. Basically, she did not offer the peace that she materially had. So I was always interested in why. So move towards those inclinations that you personally have. Third, take small steps towards what you're passionate about and what brings you joy and peace every day. I remember during my MBA, I would, and during my work time in Venezuela, I would dedicate 3 hours a day for 2 days a week, and I would go either to Starbucks or to a bookstore and just write and just try to answer the previous 3 questions that I was telling you about. And I just enjoy writing and thinking and putting things on paper. And then after a year and a half, 2 years of that, I had enough material for a book. And then I became a writer. When I was writing, I didn't know I was going to become a writer. I just became a writer by doing what brought me peace and joy and intellectual curiosity, so to speak. And fourth, trust the universe. The universe is in your corner. I remember when I grew up, we had a family company, and we've had a family company for 50 years as I was growing up. And so my mother's and grandmother's vision for me was to become part of that company and to run it someday. And because I was not aware enough of what I desired, I bought into that prospect. And it seemed rational. So I did what I was told to do. And so I went to college, went back to work in Venezuela, then went to get my MBA in finance. And that was just what I was supposed to do. And I was following the plan the world set for me, or my family set for me, perfectly. And I was not quite at peace with it, but that's what I was supposed to do. And I loved my grandmother and my mother, and I was desiring to respect their wishes. But as the universe would have it, 2 weeks before I graduated with my MBA from the University of Notre Dame in business finance, the company that my family had for 50 years was sold. And I had no idea they were selling it. But 2 weeks before I graduated, the company was sold. And so that freed me from having to go into that company. And that freed me from hurting my mother's or grandmother's dreams for me. And I went back to Venezuela to work for another company, but my mother and grandmother's wishes weren't that directed towards that new company, so I was able to let go of it after 9 months and move back here to the States and work with my cousins and start living the life that I wanted to live with peace, knowing that my mother and my grandmother were okay with that, because that company that was in our family for 50 years was sold. And interestingly enough, during my MBA in the summers, MBA is a 2-year program, so in the summer, in between my first and second year, I went to a Sufi retreat in New Mexico. And there I met a young lady who became basically my right-hand woman when it comes to this work that I do. She helps with the editing of the books and with all the internet technology stuff that I'm really not very aware of. I'm not really a tech guy, so to speak. And then she married an individual who's helping me with the picture text, picture quotes that you see every night on my Facebook page. And he will help me in the future edit these videos to make them more, I guess, easier to watch. So he's going to help me with the editing process and make the videos more just simpler to watch and nicer to watch. Better produced. Thank you. Better produced. And so let us do that today. Let us focus on not looking outside for world's definitions of what we're supposed to do, and instead look within and see what brings us joy, what gives us peace, and what we're passionate about. And let us take little steps towards in their directions, or in our truth directions, in the directions of our mission. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. If you'd be so kind to like or comment or critique on the videos, it would help with the listening process, and it might help somebody who needs clarity and towards this issue find it. If you would like to leave a question, I would be delighted to try and offer a response. And if you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube videos, I would love to have you in this community. Again, I love you very much. Thank you for your time, and God willing, we'll see each other tomorrow. Peace.